Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We have a great show for you tonight. This is the first of its kind, and my first guest is going to be Mr. Phillip Russertt. We'll talk to him in just a few minutes, but first, let's do this.
You need a dose of this.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight on this live special episode that I have going on with a buddy of mine here in the indie game. His name is Mr. Phillip Russertt. He is the head honcho at Philbo Publishing. He's got a few titles under his belt. He's grinding. He's working hard. He's got a new book right now called Arcane Syndicate that we're going to talk to him about. But I wanted to do this little one-on-one. We're going to deep dive into Arcane Syndicate. So those of you watching, you're going to really get to know what this story is about, because I think that I'm tired of hearing everybody talk about whether it's Disney, Star Wars, this, that, and nobody's talking about our stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing here tonight. He's sitting in the back waiting to come in. I'm going to bring him in. We're going to talk to him about his brand, what he's doing, and then boom, we're getting right into Arcane Syndicate. So without any further delay, please welcome Mr. Phillip Russertt. Let's add you in here. Phillip, where you at? There you are. What's going on, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man? How are you? Thank you for having me on.
Of course, man. Of course. When I thought about doing this show, I automatically thought about you. And the reason why I say that is because we've had a chance to, get to know each other in the last few years. And I know you're a passionate dude, bro, about a lot of things, including your work. So I wanted to deep dive with you into one of your books, which is Arcane Syndicate, which happens to be out now. But I know you have a lot of other things going on. And I wanted to bring you on and just, talk about it. There's no question there. Oh,
I appreciate coming on. I have a blast talking with you all the time.
Phil, are you freezing? Am I freezing?
What's
going on here? Am I freezing? Are you freezing?
Yeah, I don't know if it's you or me, but the connection was like...
It's probably me.
Choppy.
I'm in a basement. Anyway, so Phil, let's talk a little bit about what you got going on. Philbo Publishing, right? That's your company. That's your publishing house, right? I know you started out with your flagship title, Tragedy. What led you into publishing others other than your own stuff?
So I've always been the type of person that if I don't like the way something's done, or I feel, something's missing, so to speak, that I'll do it myself. I don't. Did you guys lose me? Are you there?
Can you hear me? You're
Hello?
frozen. I still see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Are we good?
Okay. I don't know what happened. It was cutting out.
Oh, okay. No, I got you.
Yeah, I'm the type of person that if I don't like how something's going, or if I don't like how something's going, or if I think it could be done a different way or whatever, I'm not going to bitch and complain about it. I'm just going to go do it the way I think it could be done. And I really do like the indie community. I care about the struggles of people like myself and others like you, that we're passionate about the writing. We want to put it out there. We have stories to tell. We're not beholden to shareholders or any agenda. And I think we need that. And if I can in any way help that happen, I want to do it. And there are some people overseas that they don't have Kickstarter in their countries, or they don't have an American bank account. So they go through publishers to just crowdfund. And right now that's where we're at. I'm crowdfunding other people overseas. Distribution is coming next year. That's a story for another day. But yeah, so that's really what led to that, is me just wanting to make a difference and change some things.
I got you. I just wanted real quick just to welcome in Miss Lou Pons. What's up, Lou? Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Yeah, no, man,
Hello.
I totally agree with you. I mean, sometimes we were talking a little bit behind before we came on, and I was saying how I commend anyone who jumps and decides they want to do publishing because I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I've been doing this for a long time. You know, my buddy and I, you know, Sam Vera, he had a publishing company called Crazy Comics. And so I know how tough it is to do the whole publishing thing. It's even tougher when you're doing it, when you're publishing other people. So I want to talk to you a little bit about how many people do you have under the Philbo banner?
Besides myself, there's 7 other creators with their titles that we have. 1, 2, I think 3 have debuted already, and in 2025 we'll be rolling out more. So that's why we've had campaigns pretty much every month.
Yeah. Yeah, no, those campaigns, man, those campaigns. I mean, we could talk, we could do a whole thing on Kickstarter and how it affects us when we're doing these campaigns. But I know you sent me some stuff here, trying to pull it up. All right, but let's talk a little bit about.
I sent you those 2 pages inked.
Yeah, you sent it to me through the messenger, right?
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get to that also in a few minutes, but let's talk a little bit about the titles that you produce. Now, your flagship is Tragedy. For those who don't know, Tragedy's been around. What you started publishing that in 2021? How long ago was that?
Yes. 2021.
Wow, man, time flies, dude.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about Tragedy. Then we'll go down the list of the properties that you have, so that everybody can get a kind of like an idea of what you got going on for Philbo.
So Tragedy is my flagship title, and it's a character-driven piece, but it's got a lot of fun and a lot of action. It's an epic, ongoing series. Basically, in a world of superpowered people, mob assassins, and Chinese mysticism, a female Irish assassin has to battle her own demons while trying to find inner peace, or they rest in peace. So if you kind of like took Big Trouble in Little China, Kill Bill, John Wick, and Boondock Saints, threw it in a blender, and then added some Philbo, that's what you got.
Nice.
And we work with some great artists in the industry: Bill Sienkiewicz, Chris Picciolo, David Mack, Will Spatasio, Mark Bagley, you know, tons of Sean Chen, Larry Stroman, big names. So,
dude, I know you've been now. It's what amazes me is how many issues of it you've gotten out, right? Like you've gotten quite a few issues of that book. And I know, listen, we talk a lot. And I know that you have, like, when you tell me, oh, by issue 35, I'm thinking of doing this, I'm like, what? Like, that's insane, dude. Like, so you've written all these issues already.
33 scripts written, and I have stories in my head for at least 75 issues. And kind of like, what's his name, who did Invincible and Walking Dead, Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman.
When I'm done telling the story, I already know what the ending is going to be of that series. I don't plan on milking it. When I have nothing new to say or nothing interesting to say, I will end the series. But, you know, we're still in the infant stages. It's issue 6 was published, and Tragedy will be monthly next year. So we'll be catching up to that issue 33 soon. Right now, I just got roughs for issue 10 from Ricardo. And Ricardo Silva is just, he gets better with each issue. As great as he is, he just gets better with each issue. And of course, we have the great Chris Sotomayor, who is a DC Marvel Dark Horse, everybody, you know, colorist for 30 years. So he's amazing. And he's just, him with Ricardo is just awesome. And we've got new inker on board, Kashawn Hayden, which is great. So, and thank you to Gary Girout, who filled in for issue 7.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Now you have, so that's Tragedy. You also have one that I enjoyed reading because I guess it's like right up my alley. I you know, for anybody who knows, I do a lot of you know, kid-friendly books and Dynamics. So the Dynamics is another book that you have. Tell us a little bit about Dynamics.
So I wanted to, Tragedy is a little older. That's more like a teen and up, like a PG-13. I wanted to do something that was all ages friendly, just like you with Wonder Duck, etc., where a father or a mother can sit down with the kids, read the comic, get them into comics, into reading, and the parents aren't bored. They can enjoy it too. But without having to throw some of the gimmicks that some of these shows do that make a parent go, oh man, now I got to explain this to my kid. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't have any of that. The Dynamics is basically an adventure about a family about family dynamics with a family with dynamic abilities. It's got humor, all ages action, heartfelt family themes. It's the cornerstone of every story, right? Family, character driven. And I think parents are going to kick at it because it also has the parents side of things, raising kids. And then it's got the kids side of things, but just now you mix in superpowers and you really just, it just goes all over the place. But it's fun. I've written the first 6 issues. We hope to get to issue 2 soon. But that is on, and Dynamics is currently in my kids' school library.
Nice.
And people like it.
That's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. I'm looking forward to you doing more.
Think of like the Incredibles Power Pack, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no. It's right up. Yeah, exactly the way you describe exactly what it is. And then so here's the thing though, right? Like as a writer, and I talk to this about to my friends all the time. When you're a writer, you just write, right? And so you have different kinds of stories that you write though. So the next one I'm going to mention is you have Dynamics, is all ages friendly. Then you go to Withered. And I'm not saying that Withered is strictly brother, but it's definitely different than what you're writing in Dynamics. So tell us a little bit about Withered. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Withered is a more horror fantasy kind of thing. So I was turning 50 and I was kind of just contemplating why life is so hard and why God lets things happen the way they do. So I wrote a short story book called The Devil's in the Details with 7 short stories. And the first one is Withered. It's an 8-page story. And I thought the concept was so interesting that I had so many new stories to come out with it that I decided to continue it as a comic series. So Withered issue 1 had launched and is part of the Arcane Syndicate campaign. And basically, what if time wasn't a measurement? Like, what if the world is hard because God isn't in charge? What if time is actually this malevolent and omnipotent being that has imprisoned God and slowly satiates itself off our life essence? And that's why we grow old, we wither, we die, and the world isn't this, this utopia, this Eden that it was supposed to be. Now, imagine there was a great war led by Satan as the right-hand man of this thing that shall not be satiated, and they wipe out 4 of the 7 archangels of the Bible. And the 3 remaining archangels, Raphael, Gabriel, and Michael, are recruiting humans that have shown faith and resilience and strength before they're dead so that they're not consumed by this thing into the ranks of angels to help bolster it in war. Now imagine this whole thing is centered around a man named Joshua Brightson who at 91 passes, but they took him in as an angel before he's gone, and it's his human existence adapting to being an angel now, and he's teaching the angels how it is to be human, like and to love your family and protect your family. They're all about saving God, but he's like, okay, but I got my family to take care of, and he misses his family, and he keeps going down in different forms to visit his family, and then there's demons. And all my stories, I don't like that the bad guys get beaten easily or they're not taken seriously, like Skeletor or whatever. One demon in this is absolutely difficult, especially if you're a new angel. I mean, it's not something you just overcome. So it's centered around family and faith, but it's not preachy. It's not Bible thumping. You do not have to be religious to enjoy it. It is angels versus demons with Game of Thrones mixed in because Satan has his own plans.
Nice. And then I want to get through these because I want to get to there's 2 that I want to talk to you about. And for those who are just joining us right now, I'm talking to Phillip Russertt. We're going to be talking to him about the Arcane Syndicate, the book that he's got out right now on Kickstarter. If you haven't done so yet, check out the show notes. But we're also talking about Philbo Publishing for just a few minutes and going over everything. Now, also, I want to say before we continue, Phil, for anybody watching, you are planning to give away a free PDF of a book, right?
Yes, I have a horror magazine anthology. It's 5 full comic stories that I wrote. It's a 156-page magazine size horror book, including a 10-page preview story from Charles Santino, writer from Marvel. And the very first story, which is my favorite, is called 39 Cedar Lane. It is a 24-page story or 28, one of those. And anybody like Lou Pons, Annabelle, if you guys want a free copy of the PDF, all you have to do is just let me know in the chat, and then private DM me or George your email, and I will send it to you immediately for you to read.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Yeah. What's up, Anibal? Anibal's in the house. All right, cool. So let's continue here. So now you mentioned Diary of Dread. Tell us a little bit more about that book.
So in the vein of EC Comics, Creepshow, Tales from the Crypt, etc., that dark humor, but yet it's not fun. It's horror. It's tragic. I did this story. I came up with a story idea, and I thought it was interesting. I'm not a huge horror fan. I like horror, but I'm not a huge fan. And I was like, I want to challenge my writing skills and see if I can write another genre. So I came up with this idea, and I wrote this story, and it was received really well by horror fans. I like to review. You know me. I don't want to be that guy in American Idol who can't sing, but because no one told me the truth, I embarrassed the hell out of myself. I won't be that person. And I want to be better tomorrow than I am today. So I will send my scripts to, like, for example, in this case, to die-hard horror fans. And if they rip it up, tell me. But it was received so well and they loved it. And all of a sudden, I started coming up with these horror ideas, and I just started writing these stories. And horror fans are telling me that they think I'm a secret psycho or something because it was really good. And by the way, Tragedy, Peter David, Howard Mackey, and Chuck Dixon say it's well written. So if you haven't tried it, believe them.
Believe them. No, but Diary of Dread was a good book, man. I obviously got a copy of it from you. And I read the short stories. There are a few short stories in this anthologies. Right up Anibal, for example. Anibal's a huge fan of it.
They're not short stories. They're full comics.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's an anthology. Yeah, it's short stories. But it's an anthology. But they are one-shot stories, though. They're not ongoing. In other words, you're not putting them in this book for them to be continued.
Yes.
Are you, or you are, or you're not?
No, they were all self-contained one-shot stories.
Right. Yeah, yes. And that's what I like about them. That you read them, boom, you're done, and you move on. But they're really, really well done. And the artwork on those things, it's insane. I just put the Kickstarter link in the chat for everybody to check it out. Now, you do have a couple of more books that I want to go over. And there's one called,
Thank you.
We're gonna talk about Displaced, and then we're gonna talk about the other two, and then we'll get into Arcane. Displaced kind of links a little bit to Arcane. So tell us a little bit about Displaced.
All right, so Displaced is a team that is run by a government agency called the Global Protectorate Agency, which also has a division which is Arcane Syndicate. Where Arcane Syndicate deals with supernatural threats to the world, Displaced deals with terrorist threats to the world. What happens is, and you don't know why, several cultural warriors, for a Comanche warrior, a samurai, a Camelot knight, a Viking, an Egyptian warrior, a Zulu warrior, etc. They all get time displaced into now. And it's basically a book about these cultures clashing while trying to work together to face these threats, using universal translators, modern technology, etc. So it's a good action adventure, but at the same time, it kind of shows the cultural differences of how you can get along or not. For example, like the samurai believes in honor, so him and the Viking don't get along because he feels the Viking is this dishonorable beast. But there's camaraderie, and then there's a cowboy that doesn't get along with the Indian. They don't trust each other. So there's all these dynamics while trying to face these terrorist threats, and that's something coming out hopefully in 2025.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Now, I knew I just said anthologies are awesome. Yeah, he's a huge fan of anthologies. Yeah, we did an anthology a few years back called Warped. And
I'm sorry for pronouncing your name wrong.
We were doing anthologies like every year when Anibal and Jonathan and I were working together, so we know about the anthology game. But let's talk about this next one. Bill, let's talk about Shaman. Shaman is a story that you are going to be bringing out. What is it, next year?
I'm not sure. The reason is it's a 110-page graphic novel, and I really think it serves best in that format. It's a story I'm very proud of, and my writing, I feel I'm getting even better and better as I write. And Shaman, just like Papa, I'm very proud of those stories. Shaman is basically about a young black man in Alabama, Samuel Boone, who is the son of a Baptist preacher. Samuel has telekinetic and telepathic abilities, but he uses them in ways to heal people. Like, for example, he's so powerful, he'll pull the drug out of your bloodstream and then use telepathy to change your mind to not be codependent, to heal you from drug addiction. He telekinetically breaks up the tumor and then pulls it out through the pores of your body to heal you and cure you. So, unfortunately, Big Pharma is seeing a huge loss in Alabama in pharmaceutical sales. And Big Pharma, secretly, with fentanyl and opioids, deals with the drug cartels in Mexico. But they can't be attached to this, but they need them gone. So they secretly, under the table, get the Mexican cartel to go send some hitmen to take out Samuel. It's basically, he's on the run, because even though he's this powerful, he's a 23-year-old kid who's never had to fight professional killers before. So he's on the run from these professional killers. And it's really, there's some emotionally powerful moments. And I'm just very proud of it. And it's been received very well, and I hope to get it out soon, but it's just hard because I pay fair wages to artists, and at 110 pages, that's a $15,000 book to make.
Why do you say that it would be tough to split it up, like that it has to come out in 110 pages? Why can't you split it up?
Well, I can, but I just think some stories, due to flow, pacing, work better as one self-contained story, like Russ, right? You could release that chapter by chapter, but it loses something in translation to me. I feel it's something that the flow and the pace and getting hooked into the character works better when you just put it out as that 110-page book. And I think breaking it up would lose impact to me.
We talked about this, I think, when we were in, might have been Boston or whatever, wherever we went out to dinner that night. And I was telling you about a book that I'm coming out with. And
Terrificon.
Terrificon, that's what it was. And I agree, bro. Like, I agree with you. There are some books, like the book that I'm working on, right? The one that we were talking about, the Shameless Plug. I feel like that book has to almost come out as a full graphic novel rather than splitting it up. Because if I split it up, I'm forcing the split just to get a chapter. You know what I mean? Even though books are broken down into chapters, don't get me wrong, you can totally do that as indies. We can always do that. But to your point, when we're talking, and maybe you can expand on that as far as like what you felt about comic books and how there has to be kind of like a split, like the right split. It can't just be a split. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, well, the other thing too is, like, for Papa, which you're probably going to bring up next, if you have a certain amount of exposition that you have to start out with, in comics, if you just put out that one issue and it's mostly exposition, you could bore people to death to where maybe they don't come back for book 2. But if they know that it's the setup of the beginning of this, more patient with it. They're more patient with that exposition. It's kind of like when you stream something week by week, as opposed to I can watch like Cobra Kai and binge it the whole way. It's a better experience in some cases to be able to have binged the whole thing and got this whole epic movie as opposed to 5 TV shows. You know what I mean? And some stories I think just serve better in that format.
Yeah. All right, so you brought up Papa. So let me. I'm going to bring up the pages of Papa because you and I thank you for this. You asked me to letter that, and I was glad. I was very happy to letter it, but the pages came out beautifully, bro. And I know that you had a different method of working this book where you had different artists working in different chapters. And I'm going to show the pages now. While I show them, just tell us a little bit about the book itself while I'm presenting the pages to everybody here.
So, for context, I had a rough relationship with my father. My father and we made amends, but then he was diagnosed with cancer last year, April. Things were going well, and he was supposed to be okay for a while. But I came up with this story, not realizing it was me and my dad to a degree, of course. And I'll explain the story in a second, but I got 5 different artists to do each chapter. It's also a 110-page graphic novel because I wanted to hurry up because they were saying that he had 2 to 3 years to live. And again, it's $15,000 to do the book. So I wanted to hurry up and get it in his hands because my father loved the script and he wanted to see the book in his hands. It was what he asked if it's possible before his time is up. Sadly, a very aggressive tumor showed up out of nowhere, and in 5 weeks, my father passed. And that was this past April, and I didn't get the book in his hands. But it's basically this. It's a heartwarming tale of bravery, classic heroism, family, and the sacrifices that go unnoticed all too often. Bruce Rogers is a 75-year-old Vietnam vet spending his twilight years living with his son, daughter-in-law, and his 12-year-old granddaughter, Melody. And Bruce and his son have an estranged relationship that has never been resolved. Melody is the light of his life, and they formed a bond that never grew between him and his son, Craig. When a threat to Bruce's family arises, he has to decide what he's going to do to keep his family safe. And the whole question is, what would you do? And what would you sacrifice for your family? Because the truth is, we often don't, we look at everything our parents did wrong, and we never understand the quiet pains, the quiet sacrifices that they make. It goes unnoticed. You know, we don't realize, especially men of that generation, they suffered in silence just so that they could put food on the table and a roof on your head, over your head. And we were focused on they didn't play ball with me or they didn't love me or whatever, but they absolutely loved us the best way they knew how, while dealing with their own shit. And as you get older, you forgive because you realize they did the best they could. And this is a lot of that, but it is also a comic book. It is also an action tale. It also has the hero and the villain. I mean, in the world of villains, a man stands alone, willing to be the hero, no matter the cost to himself. And I've been told by people who have read this script, you have read it, that it is very heartfelt and that it's really touching. But at the same time, there are some twists you don't see coming, which I can't explain. And it's just a good freaking golden age type tale where he's not a killer, he's a hero, and he has to figure out how to do this because he's a 75-year-old man. I am proud of this story. I am sorry that my dad isn't here to see it, but I still want to get it out there in honor to him. This was the strongest man I ever met and never knew how to say I love you, never showed weakness, and stood there in tears apologizing to me for things he did, and humbled himself in front of me, and he gave me that peace. Unfortunately, I finally got my dad back, and 3 years later he was taken, but that's more than some people get, and I'm grateful for that, and I just want to honor him.
Yeah, dude, it's a beautifully written book. I mean, the pages are gorgeous. I'm hoping that you are able to bring it out next year. I know, again, as indie creators, we all know it's very expensive to put a book together, and this isn't a small book, right? Yeah. And at the same time, you don't want to skimp out on any part of it. I mean, you guys saw the pages that were up there. I mean, these pages were freaking insane. As a matter of fact, one of the artists on that book is the artist on the book that we're talking about tonight, right? What's his name? Oh, the artist on Arcane Syndicate.
David River. But if I could just interrupt for 1 second, I just want to tell everybody right now, George Medina is not just a very talented letterer that you should hire. He's not just a great creator putting out great books and a great writer. He's a good man.
Phillip.
He knew how important Papa was to me, and he insisted on lettering the book for free to cut my costs. And I yelled at him no, and he's arguing with me. He won't take money. And I just want everybody to know out there right now, of all the people I've met in the comics industry, George has been the kindest, most compassionate, decent human beings I've met. We bust each other's balls all the time, but I respect you greatly. I appreciate you greatly. And thank you for your kindness, but also thank you for your talent and what you contribute to the indie community. I just want to say that.
Well, you weren't supposed to do that. That was not in the script. We went over everything we're going to do today. Remember? That wasn't it. But thank you, brother. I appreciate you, man. No, listen.
And I know that you wouldn't want me to say that.
I know.
That's why I didn't say anything.
I should have just muted your ass. But all jokes aside, Phil, like I knew how important that was, bro. And dude, I was happy to do it, dude. I'm sorry it didn't work out the way we wanted it to work out, but I know the book is going to come out. It's going to be fine. But yeah, brother, no, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate those kind words, man. Thank you very much. And that's not why I asked you to come on the show. I asked you to come on the show because I wanted to talk about the stuff that
I know that.
Which is, it's amazing stuff. But let's move on to the next bit of business here. And I mentioned Alex Rivers. You said Rivers, his name. He is the artist on Arcane Syndicate.
It's David River.
David River. Sorry, David River. Let me show you guys a quick little video previewing this next book. Give me 1 second here. Here we go. That was nice, Phil. What you get? I mean, who composed the music? That's freaking dope, dude.
Thank you to Let's Do This for that video.
The what?
He goes by Let's Do This, LESDUDIS. He's very talented. He does my tragedy trailers, and he did this for me. He's a wonderful human being, compassionate as well, like yourself, and he does great work.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. Arelis, how you doing, young lady? Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Yeah, dude. No, that was dope. That was dope. I really enjoyed that. So let's talk about Arcane Syndicate, because that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Arcane Syndicate is live on Kickstarter right now. Everyone, check it out. Tell us a little bit about it, and I'm also going to we're going to talk a little bit about the story. We're going to talk about the characters. We're going to talk about this story as if it was a something brand new that came out from Disney Plus, because I really want to dive into where you were when you created this book. So tell us a little bit first all about the story itself. What is Arcane Syndicate about?
So Arcane Syndicate is taking all the classic monsters. I can't say Universal, but classic monsters: Frankenstein's monster, Count Dracula, the Mummy, the Wolfman, Invisible Man, the creature from a certain body of water, the Phantom of the Opera, and later on the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But anyway, and they're a government team, right? So the Global Protector Agency, who I talked about with Displaced before, assembled these monsters to be a super team to defend the Earth against supernatural threats. Now, this book is written in a way you've never seen these monsters before, and I guarantee you that. And it's the only reason why I took public domain characters, because I'm not really a big fan of doing that. I like to create original content, and I don't like to use public domain characters. But these ideas started popping in my head. And my wife, who's obviously the best person I know, she's very honest with me, and I love her for that. Because again, it goes back to, I always surround myself with people who are going to be honest, not lie to me to save my feelings, but be honest with me to save me embarrassment. So my wife was like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know if you should Universal Monsters. Who cares about that? Or as a super team, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't tell her all the plot points. So I started writing. So I cut out. I wrote the first 5 scripts of the story, and I gave it to her. And my wife was like, oh, my God, this is really good. This is really good. So the first idea I came up with is the different characters, right? So Frankenstein's monster is a descendant of Dr. Frankenstein, who is dying of cancer. And through black magic and dark science and technology, he transplanted his brain into Frankenstein's monster. So he leads the team, but he's intelligent. Phantom of the Opera, with the help of Dr. Frankenstein, came up with that keyboard you saw him holding. It basically, like a mage in D&D, he plays the keyboard and it creates different spells based on what they need. So, for example, here they're fighting these gargoyles that are pouring out of this portal. He shows up, he plays his guitar, and it causes these musical ribbons to come out, pull all the gargoyles into the portal, and close it. The Invisible Man, is he a double agent? We don't know, because he seems like he's playing both sides, the government side and the team side. And what is the government really up to? And they have a new liaison who's going by a pseudonym. Who is he really, and what is his reason for being there? Count Dracula, Nosferatu, and Vlad the Impaler all exist in this world, and they all think the others are imposters, and there's a great vampire war brewing because they all want to wipe out the others, thinking they're imposters. And it makes you wonder, why is Count Dracula here with this team? Because he's kind of like arrogant, and he is the most powerful of all of them with all his abilities. Why the hell is he lowering himself to be here? Where Vlad is more military, knights and stuff, and Nosferatu are more feral. And they're all going to go at it. And as the stories unfold, little subplots are going on, like I mentioned, but also the government is playing games. They introduce Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he becomes kind of a threat to Frankenstein as the leader of the team. Frankenstein's not getting along with Count Dracula because of his ego. There's tension there. If you remember the old Frankenstein movie, 1939, it's the first. He drowns a child. He throws a little girl in the lake, and she drowns. Well, she comes back as a vengeful ghost. And when they deal with that ghost, they now have to go save one of their team members from limbo. But before they do that, they find out that the Necronomicon is located somewhere, and they go to retrieve it. What happens when Count Dracula gets hold of the Book of the Dead? Vampires are all undead. Now, a vampire in charge of that book would control all the other vampires in the world.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff going on in this, and I haven't even touched it. I'm very proud of this book, and I've been told that this is, some people like it even more than tragedy, or just as much, which is saying a lot. And this is not a ripoff of anything that's done before. It is just, the quick pitch you could say is Monster Squad meets League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, but it's much more than that. It's a deep dive. And David River is an absolute friggin' beast on this book. And so is February Furorian, and the letters are fantastic, of course, by George with a J.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you. No, dude, it's amazing. When I was showing those pages, just his artwork is insane. Now, I do have some pencils that turn to ink, so I'll show both. But so you're sitting down. Where did the idea come from, dude? Like, I know that you talked about, you were telling that about your wife, but like, where does it come from? Like, what are you thinking about? How did the idea pop into your mind to say, all right, you know what? think I want to do monsters this time. Like you said, it's not even something you like to do. Like you just even don't like that kind of stuff. So what happened? How did it happen?
So a couple of things happened at the same time, right? I used to be an art rep, and one of the people I used to rep was an Australian artist who was very good at classic monsters like Frankenstein's monster, etc. He was drawing them, and he had done a Frankenstein monster cover for a friend of mine who has a story about Frankenstein. So I was looking at that, and I've always liked these monsters, you know. And then Kevin West, who does a cover here, who is a famous artist and storyboard artist for creep shows, TV show, etc., put up a picture, which I want to show you, of what's his name, Orlok. This is Orlok, you know, who was the original Nosferatu, right?
Yeah.
Which he just gave to me as a gift, very kind of him, with the cover, the original cover. So it made me like think again, and I don't mean this to come out the wrong way, but everybody usually tends to do the same thing with these characters, right? You know, so I was like, all right, you know, what can you do with them? And all of a sudden, these ideas just start flooding in my head. You know, what if all three vampires existed? What if there wasn't, you know, they were all, you know, because the folklores, you know, all change, right? And I was like, well, what if they all existed and so all these folklores came from the three different tribes? You know, I mean, humans have many different nationalities and cultures and tribes. Why can't the vampires? And usually it is vampires versus werewolves. I was like, let's do something else. So I was like, what the hell? Let's see these three clash. Let's see who is the true vampire, Count Dracula, Vlad the Impaler, or Nosferatu. And then I started to think of, well, what would Dracula's motivations be? And he has no minions. What would it be? You know, the three women that are beautiful and come at you. I didn't want to do all that. So I was like, well, he's part of a team, and there's a reason for it, which I'm not going to get into here. And it just all started to roll out, idea after idea. And then I don't think too hard. I just, as if I'm telling a story to my kids, you know, with the flashlight in the bunk beds, you know, I just start writing and it comes out. The story tells itself, so to speak. I know that sounds like a crappy answer, but it does. Sean Chen laughs. He goes, I sit here and deliberate over stories, revisions. He goes, you just write it in one shot and that's it. He goes, I hate you. So, you know, I mean, I just do, and I don't think about it. You want to say goodnight? Say hi to George. You know George.
Hi.
Hello.
Good night, Bear. I love you. Sleep well. Sweet dreams. God bless. I'll see you in the morning, kid. Okay? All right. I'm sorry. It's bedtime. Get some sleep.
I don't want to go to school tomorrow.
Oh, you have to. I don't want to go to work.
But you have to.
Life happens. Good night, sweetie.
At least at the weekend comes.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Good night, baby girl.
Good night, George.
Good night. She's awesome. Speaking awesome.
Yeah, it's my little bear. In the dynamics, it's based on my family. She's in there.
She's in there. Yeah. She's a superhero. No, man, these pages are sick. I'm gonna show them to you guys inked.
Yeah, I just got these from David.
Yeah. How did you hook up with the you know, the art team? Because you had the idea, you write the
So
script,
David,
artist, you know, like how did you find it?
So I had been friends with David on following him as an artist on Facebook for a while. Good night, I love you. Sleep well, sweet dreams, God bless. Oh, you don't have to get on camera. I love you, sweetie. Good night, kitten. Just shut the door. I'm sorry. Say hi to George.
Huh?
George, who was at the house?
Hi.
Hey.
That's my kitten, Melanie. Good night, sweetie. I love you. I'm sorry, guys. So, and I always admired his pinup work, and I wanted to do a cover with him at some point, but it was actually Papa that I looked at his work, and I was like, oh, I got to get this dude on a chapter because he's just so good. But then Arcane came up, and I forgot what I saw, but I saw him draw something, and I go, that's my Huckleberry right there. That's my man. That dude. If he can do sequentials, that's my dude. And I had him do a test page, paid. I always do paid test pages. I don't believe in free test pages. You work, you get paid. And it was that first fight scene with Frankenstein. It was like a half splash with little inset panels. And I said, and he inked it himself. And I was like, yeah, man, after what he did on Papa, I already knew he could do something. And then I saw what he did with this. Like, this is my guy. And he has been turning in incredible work. I mean, look at that. By the way, I love little subtleties that he did. Look at Nosferatu's shadow compared to his body positioning. Yeah, just like the Bram Stoker's Dracula, he purposely made it go a different way.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. If that was
just,
like,
and look at the detail on the
stairs.
No, that he ad-libbed that. And I have to tell you, I write my scripts. When there's a camera angle I want, I make it clear. If there's a shot I want, I make it clear. But I'm not controlling in my scripts. I will leave a lot of panels open to artist interpretation because that's your job. That's what their specialty is. I write, you art. So I'll let you art. I give freedom. Artists give you the best work if you don't stranglehold them. I mean, again, if there's a camera angle I want, I will ask for it. If they come up with something better, I will defer to them. No ego. My ego is putting out the best books possible, professional books. He added all the candles on the stairs too. That's all David. The scene I gave him was splash page.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I gave him splash page, Nosferatu at the top of the stairs. They're all bowing in subservience. His right-hand man, I gave the description of his right-hand man with a reference, standing there, announcing him coming. This dude did everything else out of his own artistic creativity.
That's insane, dude. That is really, really, really well done. Really well done. Holy cow, bro. Jesus.
And my favorite page of any book I've ever done is what he did on that colored Vlad page.
Yeah. That was nice. That was. Does he work traditionally? Is this all done traditionally, or is he doing stuff digital
yes,
as well?
And I get all the pages. I get all the originals.
Wow. Damn, this is beautiful.
Damn right, I'll pay for them.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Holy cow, bro. Jesus. Look at Crystal. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. Look at you. She's so nice in this channel. She's awesome. But dude, this looks amazing, bro. This looks insane. So, all right. So you have the Syndicate.
Unfortunately, though, we haven't had a pledge in about 22 hours.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about Kickstarter, man. That's the thing about crowdfunding. It just gets insane. So tell me a little bit about the designs. I know that you said that they're in open domain, right? But there are certain things you can't do. So I'm looking at Frankenstein right above us right here, right now. He's slightly different than what we normally would see, right? There were some things that you had to change about him, right?
Yeah, first thing, you can't do the likenesses of like Boris Karloff and what's his name? I apologize. I forget the famous actors' names, but you can't do their likeness. That's the first thing, okay? Because now it's not just the character; it's that human, the person. With Frankenstein, you can't do the green skin. You can't do the typical scar, and you can't do bolts. Can you hear me? Did you get me?
Yeah, I got you.
So you can't do the green skin, you can't do the bolts, and you can't do that typical scar. And we took his flattened head away and made it a little more rounded. Creature from a certain body of water is not public domain yet, so we had to change the face. So we kind of amalgamated him with the character from Hellboy, the water, Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney. Thank you. Yes. So we changed up the face on the creature a little bit. With the others, there really wasn't any aesthetics that were an issue. I just can't use the actual names of their, like the Invisible Man's real name in in the movies, like, you know, who the person's name was. I had to change them slightly. I can't use those names. But as far as his look is nothing you can copyright because, you know, like Negative Man, you know, the Negative Man from Doom Patrol, etc. Hush, you know, it's just a guy in a suit with bandages, so they can't copyright that. So it was really the creature and Frankenstein that were the biggest issues. Dracula, as long as you don't do Bela Lugosi likeness, you're fine. So there was that. Now, Vlad the Impaler was a real historical person. So I just took who he was historically and altered it a bit. You know? And that's his brother, Radu, who's in real life was his brother, Radu, R-A-D-U. And then we came up with his general, you know, his
we lost you there, Phil.
His general of his army. And I character design all my characters. You lost me?
Yeah, I lost you for a quick second, but
I don't know
you're,
what's going on.
you're back. You're glitching in and out. But go ahead.
All right, so I do all my character designs normally, but I did most of the character designs, but David ad-libbed a few things which actually enhanced and made better. For example, I gave him what I wanted the armor to be, like that bat skull on the armor, the bat symbol in the front there. I gave him what armor I wanted. I wanted the fur pelt and cape, but he came up with the crown. I told him what I wanted the sword to be like, but I was vague with it, and he finished it off, and he puts like that spike on the end, you know, that thing. And so David added these little touches that just really rounded it out beautifully, and that collaboration just made him look awesome. And then we stuck with the armor theme to go with all of them.
Which one did you go with as far as the swords go? Did you go with this one or did you go with that one?
The one you're showing is what we're going with.
This one, okay. Yeah, this is dope, man. And then the color palette, you guys discussed the color palette as well.
Yeah, so if you show, David threw a few color palettes out there, and I always liked the black. I wanted the black, not the predominantly red. I thought the black would be a better contrast to the pale white skin. I came up with that helmet, which also coincides with the bat skull that goes on his shoulder. And then David obviously illustrates it and makes it work. Looks beautiful. So we went with the black with touch-ups of red, as you saw with the regular pages. And that's Nosferatu. I mean, that's Vlad the Impaler as he is, and then when he's in battle, he's going to wear that. He'll be wearing that bat helmet, basically. That.
Nice, dude.
We wanted him to be. I wanted him to be regal and king-like, but at the same time, really formidable and gothic and dark.
Where is your artist, Phil? Where is he located?
So he lives in Brazil, and unfortunately, because he doesn't speak English, it's hard to get him on any live streams. But he's easy to communicate, though, regardless, you know, with text.
That was going to be my question, bro, because like something like this, coming up with you know, with armor and all this other stuff, that's got to be time consuming, right? You guys must have gone back and forth, I would say, for weeks at least to get this right. How long did this process take?
Hours. Honestly, I'm very specific when I send references. I'm very specific. I want artists to be in a position to win, and they can't win if I'm wasting their time with vague notions. So I sent him. I look on for images online, etc., and I amalgamate them, and I'll tell him exactly how I want it or what it to look like, so that he doesn't have to do 15 tries, because that's not fair to the artist, right? I mean, edits are time consuming. That's drawing for free. So I give them as detailed as I can. And thank you, Lou. Thank you. And
You say
so they,
artists.
and when they're talented and I hire these talented artists, they come back pretty quickly with it. And then, like I said, his ad libs, like The Crown, are all him. And you're gelling, you're vibing, right? When you're an art director, publisher, editor, and you guide them properly to your vision, they now get it. And they actually join in your vision with their own ideas on the same wavelength. You know, you got to bring them in to what my mind is, because artists cannot read minds, and you got to be fair to them. So once you do that, he came up with that crown just based on getting an understanding of what I wanted the armor to be and what this guy was all about. So he was able to give his own take on this, which really looks fantastic. I mean, if you could show that page again, my God. And then the colors by Philip Russertt. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm very proud of the writing on this page, which will show you I feel I can write, and if I didn't, I'd be wasting my time. I mean, look at that. And David, it's funny because despite the language barrier, he interprets scripts so well. And he is able to capture body language and facial expressions to match the dialogue perfectly. I mean, like when you scroll down, Vlad is kind of laughing in a mocking tone. We are vampire. He's like, they're amassing a large army. He goes, in large numbers, they could be a threat. He goes, we are vampire. We do not fear these apes. My army will wipe them from existence. Look at that face. He's amused. He's mocking. It's just fantastic. And then look at the backgrounds he put in it, the tapestry and the arm on the chair that he did. That's all David. Just beautiful. And then, of course, the unsung here. And look, he did that blood flow going down the. Look at that. That's David. And then you look at the unsung hero. The unsung hero is the letterer. You could have, if you weren't experienced, drowned out all of the art.
Bro, honestly, dude, it pained me to cover some of the stuff that is actually covered, because this page.
Yeah, but you didn't cover anything vital.
No. Yeah, I tried not to, but dude, like, there's just so much on the, like, it's beautifully drawn. Like, but to be fair, and to your point, the dialogue, it's insane in this page. It's like watching one of these shows that you would see on like a Netflix special. Like, the way it's written, and kudos to your writing, because it really does. It sets a mood. And listen, these are the 3 pages that you get, but you really get the vibe that this is going to be a fun freaking book, dude. Like, I mean, the action.
And that's the thing.
Just insane.
It's got everything. It's going to have horror. It's going to have like superhero action. It has I don't know if you lost me again. Sorry.
No, you're back now. You're back. You said it has.
It has horror elements. It has horror elements. It has action, superhero action. It has humor. It has kind of mystery, espionage, all-out brutality at times. Like the Nosferatu go after Vlad's kingdom, and there's a big fight, like military fight, and it's ferocious. So it's not the candy version of these monsters. As much as I love Monster Squad, that's like the Goonies with monsters, right? Well, this is not. Right. It's got serious tone. It's going to hit the horror, points. It's going to hit the action, superhero points. It's going to hit the government espionage points, the mystery points. I mean, they deal with zombies to get that Book of the Undead. They deal with gargoyles. They deal with vengeful spirits. They're going to go to limbo to fight demons. I mean, there's inner turmoil. There's inner conflict. There's character driven arcs and themes. I'm big on writing characters you can relate to. Some of my favorite movies were because you either related to the character or they were villains that you hated to love or loved to hate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I want you to walk away from my books going, man, that was a cool scene, or that was a cool line, or that character's freaking cool, man. I want that. I want you to pick that character, and he's your favorite character, and you want to see what happens next.
Yeah. No, and it's all done in the a lot of it is done obviously in the writing, but also in the character designs. And I think that and that's what I'm more interested in. Not that I'm more interested in because I love the writing, but I'm just saying, like, I know how hard it is to work with artists who are not, in the States, or you can't just go grab a cup of coffee, sit at a shop and say, okay, what do you have? Let me see some of these pages. Let me see your layouts. Oh yeah, I think you should change that. Like, we live in a different world. Obviously, look at us. We're talking through StreamYard link. But the fact that you're getting this kind of quality with that kind of, kind of like interaction, it amazes me, dude. It amazes me. I just want to show one more set of just character designs here.
And that's what I do, his brother.
Yeah.
By the way, David barely any edits. I mean, honestly, this hardly ever edits. And Ricardo Silva, who does Tragedy, lives in Brazil, hardly edits. They're just wonderful to work with. And there's a mutual respect. There's a mutual pride in what we're doing. There's no ego. I don't try to flex. They don't try to flex. We don't argue at all. We never argue. It's, look, what's going to make the best book? Because at the end of the day, what we put out is our resume, how we're going to be respected in this industry, not the behind the scenes, but what that book represents. And they understand this, and that's the people that I like to work with. Put your ego away. Your ego should all be about that book, because the best book you put out is how professionally you're perceived, how you're respected, and of course, if you sell enough, you make money, right? So I don't have any ego as a writer or a creator, and they don't have egos as artists, and it's just a pleasure working with these guys. I mean, every artist that I currently have in a book is there for a reason.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, dude. I'm just gonna share the actual what you call it, the Kickstarter. Sorry, I was just looking at
Campaign
this
page.
thing. Yeah, the campaign page. Let me close this out. So yeah, so here it is. This is it right here. Now, this page right here, Phil, is this the opening page, or this is incredible?
That's a cover by David River. That's the studio cover. And if we can get to stretch goals, one of the stretch goals is a comic size print in black and white right there. What that is, that cover.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's the cover.
That's dope. That's nice. Yeah. Let me just scroll.
I came up with the concept. I said I want them walking down the halls and everybody's kind of like nervous, like surrounding them, like, oh, oh crap.
Yeah. This is nice. This is the one that you showed, right? This is what he sent you originally?
That's the original art I showed you, Kevin West. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? You got to give credit to Furorian too, because the colorist. I mean, he could, though, as beautiful as those pages are in black and white. A colorist, like much like what letterers can kill a page. You know what I mean, with the wrong colors, and he's just doing incredible work too.
Right.
This is nice. This is nice too.
No, Irwin did this, and the black and white was so friggin' cool that I decided to put them both on the campaign. This and the black and white version are just fantastic.
Wow, holy cow! You know what? That does look nice.
Look at the mist, and
yeah,
and I offer them as a set for $5 off.
Right, that's awesome. Oh wow, right here. That's awesome. It's crazy because you know what? It almost looks better in black and white. Like, you know what I mean? Not better, but like it doesn't. You don't lose anything. It's freaking great. Look at this. This is nice too. I like this.
Yeah, I know.
This is insane, dude.
I know. Black and white it's just goth.
Yeah.
And that's Francesco Tomaselli. And then this is a blank sketch cover. I like the sketch covers for two reasons. If you're a fan of the book or you want to read the book, a sketch cover like that, you can get your own custom-made cover. You could buy that sketch cover, enjoy the story, and get your own custom-made cover if you want. Or if you're an artist, you could buy it, read it, enjoy it, draw something on it, and make a profit selling it for $60, $80, $100.
Yeah. This is nice, too. I like this.
So here's some inked pages. David River did the inks. Yeah.
Wow. This is so,
That's Dr. Frankenstein, the opening page, learning that he's dying of cancer.
Okay, I was going to tell you. So walk us through what's happening in some of these pages, because these look insane too.
Yeah, so these are the first 2 pages. Dr. Frankenstein's descendant is finding out that he's got cancer. He has a conversation with his doctor, and he's going ahead with his assistant Ivan to do the transplant using magic, black magic, and science and technology. This takes place after that first mission with the gargoyles. They're heading back to the Global Protectorate Agency. Again, some exposition, character development, getting to know these characters. I kind of, change up the personalities a bit, but still pay homage to what the characters are. It shows the tension between Dracula and Frankenstein's monster. The Invisible Man jokes around. He's kind of the clown. Wolfman's a little more stoic. He can transform at will now because of a serum.
So real quick,
and as they're getting back to the agency, and when they get
so real quick, when we started working on this, when you said, "Hey George, you want to letter this stuff," there was a conversation about what the lettering would look like when they spoke, and that you can see. I'm just going to scroll really quickly here on the pages. So every font, so in other words, the way they speak, you'll see different fonts. And that was something that you wanted to do, because you wanted to give them almost like a personality through their speech as well. So talk a little bit about that thought process for you.
So, part of the idea through comic medium of helping decipher personality is if we can in some way capture. Did you lose me? Sorry. Part of the way you can give a different voice to characters is not just part of how you can decipher different characteristics and personalities in this comic medium is not just dialogue or speech patterns, but if we could get speech tonality or the way they speak through font. Whether it's sarcasm, dripping, with sarcasm, whether it's just a gruff voice, whether it's anger, whether it's mocking or disdain, and you're dealing with monsters. So it's kind of like a monster with Mike Tyson's voice ain't gonna go over well. So you want to do like text that reflects maybe a more grumpy or grumbly style voice or whatever. So I wanted to add another 3-dimensional element to the difference between these characters, which you, of course, captured very well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, this is cool. I like the technology here.
I mean, look at David River in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And look at the panel above it with the Invisible Man. He's saying something wisecracking there. Look how David captured the facial expression, smiling through the bandages, and the finger to the head. For a man who doesn't speak English, he's right on the money with what the dialogue, the tonality of the panel.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. He left room there for whatever word balloon is going to go there. That's awesome, right here in this little spot, right? Yeah. Nah, he's on.
You want to hear the crazy part? This is his first full book sequentially.
Wow.
This is his first full sequential book.
It's impressive.
What a beast.
I like that angle. Look at that angle right here when they, where they're walking. Holy shoot, man.
Mm-hmm.
He gets it, dude.
And dude, when you go to the page next, the way he has Dracula swing his cape around, it's going to be a few pages down. It's just freaking brilliant. That's Maximus. He is the head of the GPA. We don't know what Maximus's intentions are. Okay. Look at Dracula with the cape around his face. It's just great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah,
Adding the tree branches, the creepy tree branches out the window. It's little things. I mean, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. That's dope. You can almost hear it go.
Right there, you get his arrogance and his superior. Yeah. But you also get his arrogance and sense of superiority in that.
Yeah. No, this is cool, man. This is really, really good. Really.
I'm going to tell you now, as Philbo grows, I would love to sign David to an exclusive contract. He's freaking brilliant.
He's insane, dude. He's insane. Now, these are the add-ons that you have here. Some Philbo presents, publishing presents. Now, this is a collection of Tragedy 1, Withered 1, and Dynamics 1, huh?
Yes. A little sample size for everybody if you want to test out how you like my writing and storytelling.
Nice. Tragedy trade paperback, cover of choice. I love the David Mack one. And the Chris Pachalos. I mean, they're all
Yeah,
cool,
you got
but
Bill
it's
Sienkiewicz,
the
Chris
one that I-
Pachalo, or David Mack.
Yeah, these are cool. There's Diary of Dread. That's cool, that cover. These two kids are freaking creepy as hell.
And everybody in the chat, I know I created them, Levi and Lilith. Anybody who wants a copy of the first story of Diary of Dread PDF for free for being here live during the show, just send your email to myself and or George, and I will send you the PDF immediately.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's Withered.
That's
That's
the
Satan.
Monster Pack. Oh, wait. let me
Yes,
go
sir.
back
We
one.
sold quite a few of those. People were interested.
Oh, the Monster Pack? Yeah, that's cool, man. That makes sense to get all three of them in one shot.
Yeah, stick with the theme. We didn't put up dynamics because it's family friendly. It just doesn't go with the theme of the season.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And then you got all in if you want all the covers.
Yep, that's nice.
And you can make any cover a virgin if you want. What's horror without the virgin?
Yeah, silly bastard. Kenny Calderon.
And
Nice.
we have an art tier by Kenny Calderon, 11 by 17 Bristol board, full character inked with partial background, just for $250, and you get the PDF of Arcane Syndicate still, so you can still read the book digitally, and you get the art shipped to you. And Kenny's out of Florida, so it's in the States.
Kenny's sick, man. He's got he's
Some of his
style as
samples
well.
of his work.
Yeah, this is nice, dude.
Very professional too. I had the great privilege of repping him until I quit repping.
Yeah. Wow, this is nice. This is really nice. Jeez. Well, is he the artist on the manga? Tragedy manga?
Yes, he does the tragedy manga, and he kicked ass on that.
He did. This is dope too. Here are the stretch goals. These are still locked. We got a sticker, 4,000. Let's get it.
We are stuck right now at just under 1,500. We haven't had a pledge in about 21 hours. I would love to see some people get us funded, please, at 2,500. That's what I need to finish the book with colors and letters and everything. George needs to get paid.
Yo, Phil, dude, we're gonna have to update your photo here, buddy.
Yeah, I know. That was me 60 pounds ago.
I know. I gotta update my.
But I wasn't as white.
Oh man, this is very nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
The team is killing it. Team is killing it, man. Like it's insane. It's insane. But this is looking freaking fabulous.
Very proud of this book and excited.
Yeah, no, and listen, it's a 45-day campaign, which it's going to run for 45 days. Doesn't mean we shouldn't back it today. But dude, this thing looks insane, man. This thing looks insane, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. Now it's ongoing, though, right? I feel like you're going to keep this going. How many issues?
Yes, sir.
How many issues are you doing?
I have a lot of ideas and stories that I want to get out. So there's no finite number right now. I have a lot of story ideas that I want to flesh out, and like every other story, I will write until I feel I have nothing original to say anymore, and then I'll end it.
Nice, dude. Yeah, no, this is it.
And all of this is in the tragedy universe.
It is. They're all interlocked.
All of this exists in the tragedy universe.
Damn.
The only one that's not is Withered, but Arcane Syndicate, Displaced, Tragedy, and Dynamics are all in the same world.
Really? Now, are you going to have?
So is Papa, and so is Shaman.
Now, we did mention, at the beginning, we mentioned some of the people that you were publishing. Are you going to do any crossovers with anybody? Are there any plans of stuff like that happening or no?
Yeah, Breath of the Dragon is going to cross over with a character Biomech by Mariano Nicieza, Fabian's brother. He was a writer for Marvel and DC. He owns Apex Comics. He works for Dynamite. That campaign should be coming up soon, and it'll be the Breath of the Dragon teaming up with his character Biomech. No other crossovers going on right now, but I will have intercompany crossovers at some point once I can really get some of these books off the ground. I have a major story arc that will cross over Dynamics and Tragedy, and I have a major story arc that will cross over Arcane Syndicate and Tragedy. And I just want you to know it's not written as a gimmick. There's stories that I find really interesting that I think both books could really revel in. So that's why I would do those crossovers. I promise you, nothing I write is to milk you for money. It's not for gimmick. It's not for trade paperback. It's because this is just the stories that I have in my mind that I'm passionate about. I think that you would really enjoy and share. And I had a great deal of underlying frustration my whole life. I always felt like I was missing out on something. I wasn't reaching my potential. I wasn't what I was supposed to be, and it made me angry. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I was a musician once, so I thought maybe it was that. It wasn't that. It's this. Writing, creating, telling these stories, pulling all this crap out of my head and out of my gut and putting it down has relieved that frustration. Now the new frustration is affording putting all these books out. But I'm not trying to sell myself. I'm just going to tell you, I've been a big comic fan. I'm 52 next month since 9 years old. 41 years I have read thousands and owned thousands of comics. And this medium saved me from a rough childhood, and I love it. It taught me heroes. It taught me villains. It gave me ideas, hope, faith, characters to relate to, villains to love and hate. It gave me everything. And I cannot tell you enough that this is just passion for me. Stories that I just want to get out so badly, and I think you'll really enjoy and share. Do I think I'm the best writer in the world? No. Anybody who thinks they are has a lot to learn. Do I think I'm a good writer? Yes. Am I going to tell you that? No, because it's subjective. What I'm going to tell you is pick up one of my books and find out for yourself. Because you might just pick this up and say, son of a bitch, this was good. I can't wait for the next one. Because I remember the magic of comics. I remember how exciting it was for Wednesday. Whether I was getting out of school, getting out of work, you got your ass over the comic shop. No matter what, it was mandatory. And you shut out the world and you just read them. And they brought you into those fantastical worlds. And you got to get away from the crap that was eating at you or bothering you. And I miss that excitement. So when I write with that same little boy feeling. I still have that in me. And I want that for you too. And I guarantee you, if you give one of my books a try, you're going to feel that too with the right book for you.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. I miss that. I do miss that about comics, man. I do miss that about comics. Now, let me ask you this, Bill, before we leave. I know you have obviously the publishing company. Are you taking submissions? Like if somebody wants to come and say, "Hey, can you publish my book?" Are you taking anything now? And what are the, what's the protocol to do that?
So we have taken submissions, but we're closed right now because I'm just full. I have 7 other people in publishing that are all over the world. Some are here in the States, some are in South America and other places. submission guide, starting a new one, and there's a philboentertainment.com. You'll see the submission guidelines. We're not open for submissions right now, but if you want to submit anyway, if something opens up, then we'd have you on file. We could look at guidelines. It's real simple. It has to be professional looking. It has to be professional, getting the Philbo name on, and that could sell. We don't want to let you down as a publisher, but we also we can't attach ourselves to something that is not going to look professional. And I don't mean that to be cruel or rude, but in the indie scene, there are some amazing books that deserve your attention, and there are some that, unfortunately, they're just not there yet. And because we're in a world where anybody can create a book, I do get some submissions that just aren't there yet, and I do get some that are fantastic. So I may not be as big as Marvel or DC or Dark Horse, but we have the same standards. Because for us to get to that level of respect, we have to be slapping our name on a book that deserves that respect.
Yeah, no, I agree. Dude. I agree. No, but it's dope, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you taking your time to share your world with everybody watching. And
we don't do AI.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for everyone who's here and everybody who's watching and who watched. Make sure you get us your information so we can email you that PDF. Right, Phil? We're going to send them a PDF of 39 Cedar Lane, which is the first story in the anthology Diary of Dread, for free today. Did I lose you, Phil? Did you freeze? Oh. Phil, did you freeze?
Yeah, you were choppy. I don't know if it was me or you.
Oh, okay. No, I was just talking about the PDF, 39 Cedar Lane PDF for everybody who was watching today on the show. So Krista J, Lupan, Sarelis, Anibal, all of you guys, just send me your information and then we'll get that, or send it to Phil and we'll get it out to you. Phil, did I lose you? Yes, sir. Philip. Uh-oh. Looks like we are.
I'll add one caveat. That is a horror story. Yeah, I'm losing you. I'm going to add one caveat. It's a horror story. If you watch today and horror is not your thing, I will give you a PDF of one of the other books if you want for being here live tonight. Dynamics is family-friendly. Tragedy is 13 and up. Withered is horror fantasy. So if horror is not your thing, I'll give you something else if you want to give it a try. But thanks to everybody who came out to watch. I appreciate you listening to me ramble.
That for sure. Phil, thank you so much for
coming on. And go back the campaign. Go back.
Yes, go back the campaign. Make it happen. Let's get this thing funded. Let's get this thing funded in the next hopefully the next 24 hours, right, Phil? Get some stretch goals.
That'd be nice.
Nice. Well, listen, let me. I'm gonna send you to the back again. I'm gonna say my goodbyes. Thank you so much, Phil. And hang on, we're gonna talk in a few minutes. I'm just gonna send you to the back.
Thanks for having me on. Bye, everybody.
So that was Phillip Russertt, everyone. Yeah, make sure in the show notes, I'm gonna have all his information, his website. I have his Kickstarter link in there. Please go check it out. Check out the campaign. Make sure you pledge to it. If you can't pledge to it, share it out. Share it out with everyone you know. Let's get this book funded. It's a really cool book. As you guys can see, the artwork is insane. It is an insanely good book. So please back it. Thank you guys for showing up today. Thank you for watching. I will be back live next week. I'll be back from Baltimore Comic-Con next week. So I will have a live show where I'll be doing the drawing for the raffle that I'm offering at Baltimore Comic-Con, which is for this book. And I'm gonna cover the remark. This book right here, it was signed by Mr. Joe Holly, and there's a remark on the book. I'm actually raffling that off. So if you're at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend, come see me, table D5. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, peace.